Menus. The atmosphere surrounding BTS has always been filled with unforgettable moments, but every now and then, a simple act of kindness becomes more powerful than the biggest stage performance. Fans have witnessed breathtaking concerts, emotional speeches, and incredible achievements throughout the years, yet stories that reveal the genuine bond between family and the members often leave the deepest impression. Recently, a heartwarming story began circulating among fans, capturing everyone's imagination with one touching idea. What if Jimin's father quietly prepared a special meal for Jimin and the BTS members behind the scenes? While this story is presented as a heartwarming scenario inspired by the close relationship fans admire, it perfectly reflects the values that have always surrounded BTS: family, gratitude, friendship, and sharing love through the simplest gestures. Long before the lights illuminated the stadium and thousands of ARMY members filled every seat, preparations were already taking place backstage. Staff members hurried from one corner to another, stage managers checked every detail, dancers rehearsed their final movements, and technicians ensured every light and camera was perfectly synchronized. The entire venue buzzed with excitement as another unforgettable performance approached. Behind the excitement, however, the BTS members had been working tirelessly. Weeks of rehearsals, constant travel, interviews, and performances had left everyone physically exhausted. Although they never stopped smiling in front of fans, the demanding schedule was beginning to show. Even someone as energetic and dedicated as Jimin occasionally needed a quiet moment to recharge. Those who have followed BTS for years know that food has always held a special meaning for the members. Sharing meals together has never been just about eating. It has always represented comfort, friendship, and the feeling of home no matter where they were in the world. As preparations continued backstage, very few people noticed a familiar figure quietly entering the venue through a private entrance. There were no cameras following him, no dramatic announcement, and no attempt to attract attention. He simply greeted the security staff politely before carrying several carefully packed food containers. Inside each container was a selection of warm Korean dishes prepared with incredible care. The aroma alone immediately reminded everyone nearby of home. Every meal had been arranged thoughtfully, ensuring there was enough for everyone, not only Jimin, but every BTS member and several hardworking staff members as well. According to those who imagined the scene, the visitor wanted the meal to remain a surprise. There was no desire for publicity or recognition. The purpose was wonderfully simple: to make sure everyone had something warm and comforting before another demanding performance. Backstage staff members carefully accepted the food, touched by the kindness behind the unexpected gesture. Many exchanged smiles, realizing that such thoughtful acts often happen far away from cameras and headlines. Only a handful of people knew who had arranged everything. Meanwhile, Jimin continued rehearsing with the members, completely unaware of what was waiting nearby. He focused on perfecting every dance movement, reviewing stage positions, and encouraging everyone around him with his usual bright energy. Hours passed quickly. As rehearsal finally ended, the members returned backstage, laughing together after finishing another successful practice session. They expected the usual routine, a quick break before changing into stage outfits. Instead, an incredible aroma greeted them the moment they entered the resting area. Several members immediately looked around. "Something smells amazing," one of them joked. Another member laughed while trying to guess what kind of meal had suddenly appeared backstage. No one expected what they were about to discover. Waiting on a nearby table were beautifully prepared dishes, still warm, carefully arranged exactly as they would be at a family dinner rather than inside a busy concert venue. For a brief moment, everyone simply stared. Then someone quietly explained where the meal had come from. Jimin froze. His expression reportedly changed from curiosity to complete surprise. His eyes widened before an unmistakable smile slowly appeared across his face. For just a second, the noise surrounding the backstage area seemed to disappear. Instead of thinking about choreography, cameras, or the upcoming concert, Jimin found himself thinking about home. Many fans have always admired the close relationship between Jimin and his family. Throughout his career, he has occasionally shared stories expressing gratitude for the support they gave him while pursuing his dreams. Moments like those remind fans that behind every global superstar is a family cheering quietly from the sidelines. The members gathered around the table with genuine excitement. Rather than rushing through the meal, they appreciated every dish placed before them. The comforting flavors seemed to offer something beyond delicious food. They carried warmth, encouragement, and a reminder that someone cared deeply about their well-being. The atmosphere quickly transformed. The exhaustion visible only moments earlier began to fade. Laughter returned. Conversations became louder. The dressing room felt less like a workplace and more like a family gathering. Even the staff members nearby couldn't help smiling as they watched the scene unfold. Sometimes, the greatest gifts are not expensive presents or elaborate celebrations. Sometimes, they are simply warm food prepared with love. That simple idea resonated deeply with fans imagining the moment. It wasn't about luxury. It wasn't about publicity. It was about kindness expressed in the most genuine way possible. As everyone enjoyed the meal together, stories from earlier tour naturally resurfaced. The members laughed while recalling funny rehearsal mistakes, unforgettable concerts, and moments that had become legendary among ARMY. The room echoed with cheerful conversations, creating memories that would likely remain meaningful long after the concert ended. Outside, thousands of fans continued gathering, unaware that one of the most touching moments of the day had happened quietly behind closed doors, not under bright lights, but around a shared meal. And perhaps that is exactly why the story continues to resonate so strongly. Because sometimes the most unforgettable moments are the ones no audience ever sees, menus. As the meal continued, the atmosphere backstage became noticeably calmer. The usual pressure that came before a major performance seemed to fade, replaced by warm conversations and genuine smiles. For a brief period, there were no headlines to think about, no cameras waiting outside, and no expectations to fulfill. It was simply a group of people enjoying food together, appreciating a quiet moment before stepping onto one of the world's biggest stages. Jimin looked around the room with a smile that fans have often described as unmistakably sincere. Seeing his fellow members enjoying the meal appeared to mean just as much to him as receiving the surprise itself. Every laugh shared around the table seemed to remind him that family can sometimes extend far beyond blood relatives. The members complimented the delicious dishes, one after another. "This tastes incredible. It reminds me of home. I haven't had food like this in a while." Although every member came from different families and different hometowns, Korean home cooking has always carried a special emotional meaning. During long international tour, familiar flavors often become comforting reminders of childhood memories and simpler days before worldwide fame. Staff members nearby also noticed the change. Only minutes earlier, everyone had been moving with intense focus, checking schedules, adjusting costumes, reviewing stage cues, and preparing equipment. Now, many found themselves smiling simply by watching the members relax together. One crew member quietly remarked that moments like these were rare. Not because BTS lacked happiness, but because their schedules rarely allowed enough time to slow down and simply enjoy one another's company without rushing. The thoughtful meal created exactly that opportunity. Meanwhile, outside the venue, excitement among ARMY continued growing. Fans from different countries proudly carried light sticks, banners, and handmade gifts. Some had traveled thousands of kilometers just to attend the concert. Others had spent months saving money for tickets. The energy outside was electric. Inside, however, an entirely different kind of magic was unfolding. Rather than bright stage lights, it was the warmth of kindness illuminating the room. As everyone finished eating, Jimin reportedly bowed respectfully toward the person who had made the surprise possible. His gratitude was evident not through dramatic words, but through small gestures, something fans have always admired about his personality. Those close to BTS have often spoken about how humble the members remain despite achieving extraordinary success. Moments involving gratitude, respect, and appreciation continue to strengthen that image among fans around the world. The conversation gradually shifted toward memories from the early years. Someone recalled cramped practice rooms where the members shared simple meals after exhausting rehearsals. Another remembered nights when everyone stayed awake perfecting choreography because they refused to give up on their dream. Back then, success felt incredibly distant. Meals were often simple. Schedules were uncertain. But one thing never changed. They always had each other. Looking around the table now, it was impossible not to notice how much had changed. The same young dreamers who once practiced endlessly were now preparing to perform in front of tens of thousands of people. Yet despite sold-out stadiums, international awards, and global recognition, the comfort found in sharing food together remained exactly the same. Perhaps that is why fans connected so deeply with stories like this. Because they remind everyone that fame may change circumstances, but genuine affection, respect, and family values remain timeless. Soon, the stage manager entered the room with a gentle reminder. 30 minutes until showtime. Immediately, everyone understood it was time to return to work. Costume teams began making final adjustments. Microphones were checked once again. In-ear monitors were carefully fitted. Hairstylists completed the final touches. Despite the busy preparations resuming, something had clearly changed. The members appeared refreshed. The earlier fatigue had been replaced by renewed energy. Several staff members quietly commented that everyone's mood seemed lighter than before. Sometimes emotional support is just as important as physical rest. A thoughtful meal, a familiar taste, and the presence of loved ones can restore energy in ways that even hours of sleep cannot. Jimin took one final glance toward the table before leaving the room. The containers that had arrived full of carefully prepared dishes were now nearly empty. That simple sight brought another smile to his face. It meant everyone had eaten well. It meant the surprise had accomplished exactly what it was intended to do. Not to attract attention, not to create headlines, but to remind hardworking people that someone cared about them. As the members lined up behind the stage entrance, the familiar sounds of thousands of cheering fans became louder with every passing second. The opening music echoed throughout the stadium. The countdown began. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The curtain rose. An explosion of lights illuminated the venue as BTS stepped confidently onto the stage, greeted by deafening cheers from fans whose excitement had been building for hours. Watching from the audience, no one could have guessed that only moments earlier, the members had shared one of the most heartfelt experiences of the day backstage. Their smiles now seemed brighter. Their energy felt limitless. And although fans naturally credited the incredible atmosphere inside the stadium, some imagined that the warmth of that quiet family-inspired moment remained with them throughout every song. Whether real or imagined, stories like this continue to resonate because they celebrate values that transcend music, love, gratitude, generosity, and the simple joy of caring for others. For ARMY around the world, those qualities have always been among the reasons BTS inspires millions beyond their performances alone.